So in this example, we're going to talk about templates. And templates allow us to write functions and create classes that aren't dependent on any one specific type. So to start off with, let's do an example of a function that will print the elements of a vector. So we'll call it print vector. And we don't know what type it is, so we'll say t. And then we can say for auto, so we'll just do a constant reference. And we'll print those values out. And that's completes our function. So we didn't include vector, so let's fix that. So we also get this error, t was not declared in this scope. That is because it doesn't know what t is here, so I need to tell it that t is a type name. So now, and this doesn't have to be on a separate line. I just like to do this to just sort of keep my function signature as clean as possible. So let's actually use this function now. So let's set up a vector. And we'll just call it v. We'll call this vint. And we'll call this vdub. And then we'll print both of those. It looks like I didn't say what the type was. So let's fix that. So there's my two vectors that should get printed out. And notice it didn't care what the type was, it just printed them out. And I can actually simplify this even further. I'm going to have two type names. I'm going to have a container type and the type that it holds. And this is going to return whatever it holds. And I'm going to call this sum elements. And there's going to be a container. And there's going to be some number. And that number is going to serve as two things. First, let's get this loop started. N is going to be the initial value. And so whatever its type is, it should match whatever's in that container. So I'm going to do n plus equals ii. And then when that's done, I can return n. Notice n is a local variable, so it's okay to change it like this. It'll copy it back. So now let's try I'm going to borrow that. And then we'll call this for each of the vectors we defined above. So no matching call for sum of vector int. Interesting. I didn't give it a initial value, which in this case would be 0. Although I could pass any integer, and that would be 0.0 for the double. And now when I run this, notice I get the results I was expecting. So let me do a little bit of cleanup of the output here. But we can also, if we would like, define classes. But let's go ahead and do that in a separate video.